Do you feel like you're the only young person who cares about your Catholic faith? Do you look around at Mass and only see silver foxes?
We're Jake and Kathy, a young adult married couple, and we're here to tell you, you're not alone.
That's why it's time to get Truth Popped.
You're gonna get a podcast designed specifically for you, a young adult Catholic in a pop culture world.
The countdown is on for Truth Pop.
We'll connect Christ into culture.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 12 of Disney Plus Reviews. I'm one of your co-hosts, Phil Souza, and I'm here with my other co-hosts, Jack, Troy, Altermat, and we have several special guests on the show today as well. I have Grant, Ryan, Youngsma, Katelyn, Gabriella, Youngsma, and Stephen, Chad, Price. Are you okay being Chad?
I was hoping for Troy. I was okay.
Jeez, Pete.
Or Ryan?
Yeah. If you couldn't tell already, this episode we were talking about High School, the musical, the series. Did I put all the right words in there? There's 7 words in this television show.
That's right.
Yep,
Phil.
you got it.
And this is about the time of the show where I basically get off the mic for the rest of the episode because I've only seen one episode of the television show on Disney Plus, and I've seen none of the movies. Actually, no, I did see High School Musical 3.
How dare you, Phil?
Yeah, so I know very little. So I'm going to hand this off to Jack. Jack is probably going to take the rest of this show.
All right, so everyone, welcome. We have Steven. He's on the road. He is driving from Louisville, Kentucky, where he lives with his fam, and he is driving to Arrowhead Stadium because he was picked up off the free agent list, and he is playing in that AFC Championship game tomorrow. Steven,
That's right.
Steven, hey, we have you for 10 minutes-ish. How's it going, bro?
It's going well. I'm pretty giddy. Mostly because I'm headed to Arrowhead for an AFC Championship game. But also because I get to talk about High School Musical, the series.
I mean, when it comes to names, nothing beats this thing. Also, we have Grant Youngsma and Katelyn Youngsma, 2 veterans from the Horrible Movie Podcast. They were on many episodes of that.
I love that show.
But they're also Disney. I'm gonna call you guys something. I'm gonna call you a name. You're also Disney freaks.
Okay.
So
right.
you guys
I'll
love
take
Disney.
that.
Nothing better than you guys coming on. We're gonna let Steven do a lot to start us off, and then
Okay.
you guys are gonna be the closers. You're gonna be the Dennis Eckersley. You're gonna be the Lee Smith of this. You're gonna close this thing out for us.
I'm more of an Araldus Chapman.
All right, whatever. You can be Dan Quisenberry. Rest in peace. All right, so, Steven, Disney High School Musical, you and I have done so many grapevines together over the years. We've done so many jazz hands, thanks to Troy frickin' Spradley. Your thoughts on High School Musical, the series, and go.
Oh, well, it's pretty classic Disney fodder, but it's up a notch. I would say it has a slightly older, more mature feel to it, but also has that very, very in vogue sort of they what is it called? Breaking the where they talk to the audience, right? That whole that was made popular by The Office and Parks and Rec. So it's got that element to it. It's got some Disney, Disney kiddo veterans that were in
Kiddo veterans.
Kiddo veterans.
They are. Hey,
they've been slinging it on Disney shows for years.
They're grown. They're grown below Epcot Center, and when Zac Efron was one of them as well, and definitely.
Oh yeah. Look, and the series. I think it was pretty solid. I mean, I'm excited. I finished I think the finale actually just came online this week. I don't know because I just watched them. I watched the last 3 or 4 this week. But just like all the Disney Plus shows, they really like The Mandalorian. They release them kind of like real shows weekly. Yeah, I mean, I could hit some high points, some low points, but overall, it's got the cheese that you expect. It's got those sort of moments where you feel a little like it's too cheesy, makes you squirm a little bit. But you know, the kids did a good job.
Who? Okay, let's go around the room here. Who is the? Who's your favorite character, person, maybe actor, breakout person on this show? Let's start with you, Katelyn. Of the actors, who did the best job on this show? You can just name the character name. You did watch the show,
Or
right?
who your favorite character is?
Okay, well, who's your favorite character? Who did a good job?
Oh, I know for sure.
I can be objective and say
I
who
got
did a
it
good
right
job.
away.
Who was it, Steven?
It's Frankie Rodriguez as Carlos. He stole the show. Actually, only missed 10.
What's that?
But I think Frankie Rodriguez as Carlos is. I think he's the strongest character on the show.
Okay.
I personally love Big Red.
Okay, here's what I'm going to say about Big Red. Big Red, very underrated. I mean, not that anyone's rated Big Red, but he's very underrated, and I felt like he played a kind of an introvert high school kid. We are all in this room around that age of kid, and I think Big Red did a good job of portraying what, man, a lot of kids are like that. His reading was really weird in that one where he had to be the stage manager and reading stuff out. It was like so awkward. Like, does he need some remedial reading or what's happening? Anyway, Katelyn, have you come up with your favorite?
Jack, I think that was the point. That was the point. Yeah.
Well,
I think it was.
I'm here to help. Katelyn,
I don't really have a favorite.
you don't have a favorite one? What?
She loves EJ.
No.
I thought he was kind of flat. I thought EJ was pretty flat.
What about Nene?
Yeah.
Did you at least like the lead? Like the lead actress?
I think they're all good. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
really. That's why I don't
so
really have a favorite.
All right, so you're positive on all the characters. Is
Yeah.
what you're saying? Okay.
I mean, I have some pretty strong. Yeah, I mean, Nene was really solid. She from both an acting and a singing standpoint, she's really good on camera. You could tell she's done a lot of show. Like she's been in front of a camera a lot. I mean, I think the Troy, he's like adorable, but wasn't as strong.
Do you?
I think. Yeah.
Do you feel like he was it Josh Bassett is his name? Don't you feel like he graduated from the Tom Holland School of Acting? I mean, there are points when I'm like, man, you are really putting on a Tom Holland impression, kid.
Yeah, I mean, like it's what you're used to seeing on Disney shows. It's like you can see kids acting like they're acting. It's just
They're
kids learning
kid
how to act.
actors,
They just
yeah.
figure it out. I mean, they're figuring it out.
Yeah.
And you see that, and you're kind of used to it.
Yeah.
But Nene or Nina, whatever her real name is.
Nene, girl.
Nene.
Nene.
I thought she was great, and she's going to be I think she'll be a star.
I thought the Gina Porter character, Sophia Wiley.
Yeah.
Thought she did a great job.
She was big time on Andy Mack, I think.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
And hear me out when I say this. The High School Musical, just the original stuff. Sharpay's character is the mean girl, basically. You know what I'm saying? And so the Gina Porter character has to kind of take on that role a little bit in this show. So I felt like she did a good job. I thought she did a good job of kind of doing
right,
that.
because Sharpay, I mean, he wasn't. I mean, the guy.
Well, it's a different.
He didn't. He wasn't. Yeah, I mean, he didn't play
They just took
the
it in
main
a
role at all.
right. It's an interesting thing what they did with that, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, I'm saying from a like you basically in High School Musical, Sharpay is such a strong. I mean, Sharpay is she is the foil. She is the bad guy. She is the villain.
You have to have an antagonist.
Yeah,
you
and
gotta
so
have some sort of antagonist.
yeah, and so other people took on that role whenever they decided to cast the Sharpay role the way they did with things, which that proved for Carlos that gave Carlos a little relationship there, but.
Give Carlos a flame, a love interest.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Carlos was hilarious, and I think he's really that guy. I think he's really good. And Miss Jen had all the best I mean, she just had so many great lines. That, like, because she was the one that, like, all of her lines was throwback. Like, they were because she's like the person that connects the audience to the real High School Musical back in the day. I mean, she has all of that, you know. Like, I remember there's, like, my favorite, like, when she's having her flashback to watching the premiere, and her scene was cut, her line was cut, and she yells out, like, "Help me, Kenny Ortega," which is like, which is, you know, it's so good. So I thought she was really like a bright spot on the show for sure.
Amanda, watching her, said she is a she said she is a budget Kristen Chenoweth.
Oh, 100%. That's it. She's a poor man's Kristen Chenoweth. 100%.
Yeah. So that was interesting. I mean, you guys watched, Katelyn and Grant, you guys watched this as it came out. So when one episode would come out, I literally binge watched a bunch of episodes this morning. I started this morning and watched a bunch. Phil and I, went beat by beat on the Mandalorian. I honestly had to ask you guys, did they just drop this all at once? Kind of how Netflix used to do. Mm-hmm. And they were telling me that, like you said, Steven, that it came out.
No, yeah, it's not
weekly. I didn't realize
that.
It's
like like Disney Plus and Apple Plus, Apple TV Plus. That's how they do their streaming. They drop them one at a time, or two at a time sometimes.
Well, very, very cool. I feel like the filming of this, we said it's like it's like that very Disney kind of thing they do, but not the thing they do. That's a different movie. But the thing, the intro, if you listen to the intro, and it almost sounds like it's like Modern Family.
Or The Office,
But I'm saying the intro, like, literally almost has a direct Modern Family vibe, and then like you guys, and like you're saying, I agree. But I'm saying the intro itself was like that, and then the camera stuff is that, I don't know, like the mockumentary style that they do, and so that was interesting to me that they went that route. So.
Well, yeah, and I think in the mockumentary, I liked their characters, Big Red, and then the girl who played Miss Darvish in the show. And of course, I would say, I mean, like they're sort of they're like a really sweet couple that emerges over the course of the show. Really isn't. You don't know they're really going to become a couple until the secret scene, actually, at the very end of the show, and when Big Red sort of busts out all his hidden talents, and she's watching, and I mean, seeing them, she was great. She always, I think probably her, and I don't remember her name. I think her cutaways,
Ashlyn?
like her, Ashlyn. Hers were like, I think, the best. She's, I always loved her cutaways and her sort of, I'm going to talk to the camera moments.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, very, very good, Steven. Very, very good. Who is going to win in your Chiefs ball game tomorrow? We're all excited here. We're all Chiefs fans here. We're all Chiefs fans,
Chiefs
right?
Are gonna win.
Right,
I don't know
guys?
who's going to figure out how to tackle.
No.
The Youngsmas are not Chiefs fans, but Phil and I are. But who? Go ahead. Who's going to tackle? What did you say?
Yeah, I don't know who's going to tackle Derrick Henry. I'm just hoping he doesn't have a 200-yard game again. I just feel he can't do that 3 weeks in a row. But maybe he will. And the Chiefs are going to. He's going to be even harder to tackle because he's going to be like a concrete block, and then it's going to be 5 degrees, and it's going to be really hard to tackle.
Dude.
I think it's supposed to be like 12 degrees at kickoff, 12 or 13
Yeah, it's
degrees.
going to be cold, dude. You better bundle up, okay? You better wear your sweater, okay, hon?
I got my hot hands.
And your hats and mittens.
Wear your mittens. Or wear your Patrick Mahomes and your kittens. Well, very good. Yep,
Well,
exactly.
I'll say, I'll see. Okay, yeah, I'm almost at my. I just, I set myself a time limit, so I get back on the road. But I will say this.
Mm-hmm.
Some thoughts I had on the broader High School Musical genre. It really isn't a. It really is its own show. I mean, like this news. I mean, and there's plenty of like throwback and sort of little nuggets, little Easter eggs in there for all the fans like of the original movies.
Mm-hmm.
I think they did a really good job with it. I will also say just the idea of, that was my existence in high school. Part of it. I mean, I did a bunch of stuff, but I love the music, and there really is the feeling of like when you finish a musical and sort of, and it's hard. I think it's hard to convey sometimes on screen without being super cheesy, but it really is pretty special. When you've worked as this like group, as families, and you become friends with people you might not have even like known before you were in this musical together. And I think they really did a good job capturing that, and and allowing people to sort of like individual differences to kind of shine through. And the show did a really good job with that. But I'm excited to see season 2. Who knows when I know they already renewed it for a second season.
Yeah.
Very good. Katelyn, what starring roles have you had in musicals?
Starring roles?
What roles have you had in musicals? She went to Kickapoo High School. Steven.
Well, I was in the chorus for 2 of them.
Boom.
And I was Rapunzel in Into the Woods.
Dude. That's awesome.
So none of them are really starring.
Into the Woods, the musical or the play?
The musical.
Yeah, oh man, that's got some... That music's so dark. Yeah. So like, everything's in a minor key. Everything's in a minor key in that musical.
It is difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we did that my senior year. We had a lot of pretty talented people in my senior class, so it was a good one that had a lot of roles that people could be featured on. So
Lucas was in that class too. Lucas Graybill.
Yeah.
No. Brad Pitt went to Kickapoo High School too.
He did.
He was in the musical, that one.
Oh, I just forgot her name. It's not Kristen Chenoweth.
There's somebody else famous that went to Kickapoo?
Yes, a
She's
Broadway star.
Into the Woods.
Now I can't think
Look
of
it
her
up.
name.
Caitlin's looking up on the internet.
I just forgot it. I always
She was in
know
her
what it is,
wedding.
but-
They're best friends.
Kim Crosby?
Yep.
Yeah, Kim Crosby. That's her.
Crosby.
Yeah, she played Cinderella on Broadway and Into the Woods, and she came to our production.
Her friends call her the Cros in high
Oh,
school.
that's rad.
Steven.
Yeah, she's about to be in Hello Dolly at Springfield Little
Oh,
Theater.
I thought you were going to say something horrible.
No,
She's
Hello
about to be in
Dolly.
Hello Dolly. Sorry.
No, it's a musical at Springfield
Well,
Little Theater. She's going to be the
hello.
star in it.
Cool.
Dolly.
Well, Steven, get back on the highway. Are you already past
Well, yeah,
Columbia?
I do, but yes, I will. But I want to hear. I kind of want to react to it. Like, I want to hear our other like any hot takes, cold takes.
Oh, well, I feel bad for you because you're pulled over beside the highway. I'm worried that a trucker's
okay.
going to hit you. I love you. I don't want anyone to hurt you. Well, okay, hot takes. Okay, Youngsmas.
Yes.
Activate into the form of opinion about High School Musical and go. Go. Just talk about High School Musical.
Let me give you a couple of focus questions.
That would
I'm
be
not
great.
good at
Okay,
just
I
coming
know.
up
Let
with
me- let me
stuff.
help,
I
let me
need
help.
questions.
Okay, so compare this to the movies, which I know it's two totally different kinds of things. And then also, my main question about the show is it basically kind of an analog to the original movie? Like, these characters are supposed to kind of emulate the original characters a little bit? Like, they have a similar drama going on as the original? I have not seen the original, so I don't have anything to compare to.
I mean, not really.
Not
I would
really?
say.
Well, I would say just in the sense that there's a love and doubt and just general sort of teen angst and relationships. All that sort of is part of both of them. But I wouldn't say there's a direct. That's a good question though. Like,
Yeah.
I think they really just try to establish it as its own show, just sort of happening to be existing at East High in Salt Lake City, Utah, putting on the musical, and then everything else is sort of, I think, a unique identity to the show.
Katelyn and Grant, like, compared the, like, specifically, like, the music or the dance, like, the singing or the dancing, is it on par, just as good, better, worse? Like, how does it compare to the original movies?
I would say it's
I'd say it's
just
about
as good.
just as good
Yeah.
or better.
Yeah.
It's played for straight up more straight up comedy though.
Yeah.
Like High School Musical,
It's a serious movie.
it is well. It's not. It's
That's a good point, Jack.
It's cheesy, but this is like played up like Modern Family, like a show where you know what I'm saying, like,
Yeah.
and it's very Disney.
I would agree with you. It has that feel to it. Yeah.
It's very predictable.
Oh yeah,
The show.
Yes.
it really is very predictable, but not in a bad way. And not,
Yeah.
like it's not like you're not going to sit here and it's not Inception, so you're not going to sit here and try to figure out which reality I'm in right now. It's pretty. Hey, it's pretty standard stuff. So
I only watched the first episode, but then like when we went to dinner right before this, and Grant and Katelyn were talking about like, oh yeah, they get back together at the end. I'm like, well, yeah, I figured that was gonna happen. So
I mean, it's a Hallmark. I mean, but like people
it's a
sign up and
Hallmark.
sit down
It's
and
kind of
watch
a
it.
Hallmark.
Come on.
And they are such a cute couple.
They are kind of a cute couple. EJ and her don't fit together at all.
they're never gonna work.
No.
I didn't like it.
No. And I was
When they
kind of
were
hoping
together.
EJ would just flat turn out evil at one point, like straight up evil.
But then he kind of turns over a new leaf and
He kind of turns into Slater.
all good guy.
Like Slater and Zach start
He does.
out.
He does take one for the team.
Yeah.
At the end.
But gosh, High School
What
Musical,
was
the
the-
musical, the series.
What was the first question that you asked on the focus question? Still, you asked an analog question. What was the first one?
Oh yeah, I just wanted a
About
comparison to the
the
original
movies.
movies.
How they compare?
I know they're different, you know,
They are.
style wise, but
I mean, they're basically putting on the first movie as a musical in the show. So it's kind of like,
yeah.
so I mean, when you watch the very last two episodes when they're actually putting on the musical, I mean, you see a lot of the same moments that are happening in the first movies because they're putting it on.
Like
Right, you
But-
get Breaking Free. You get
Get your head in the game. Get your head in the game.
you got get your head in the game. You got
Status
the
Quo.
Status Quo, and big Act 1 finale of Status Quo, which is a great song. That's where that, and there's like really good choreography in that
Yeah.
number.
But I think Jack hits it best by saying it is High School Musical meets Saved by the Bell. Where
It has it, yeah.
you have the High School Musical aspect in the actual play,
Yeah, and
but then you have the ongoing drama
Red
of
is-
Saved by the Bell.
Red is Screech, EJ is Slater,
I mean, yeah, there's
Kelly
definitely.
is the one girl.
I would
the
say
other
there's
girls are
definitely
there
a lot more
too.
drama in the show than in the movie.
The funniest thing that happened of the episodes, I've seen have seen half of them. The funniest thing that happens is whenever the STEM teacher guy, what's his name?
I don't even remember his name.
He's the computer
To be
teacher
honest.
guy. He's
Yeah,
like
he's hilarious.
trying to hold always save Kristen Chenoweth to us, basically going, listen, you're a fake and a fraud, and you're the worst. And then she hears in the other classroom, her kids are singing Status Quo, but they're singing it in this old good-timey kind of, no, stick to, and they're like playing around, and then she opens the door, and they're all gathered around the piano like it's some like African traditional choral song, and their faces, they look like they were Vertical Church or something. They're like Elevation, and they're like, they are so enraptured by this. And I just laughed. Amanda was annoyed by me laughing at this. But I was like, this is like the cheesiest thing I've ever seen. Like, we're supposed to then go, you're right. These kids do love this. They're totally bought in now.
Yeah.
Anyway.
To enjoy I think to enjoy the show, you have to just accept moments like that, and some people just can't. Some people just are just gonna like that's like pure Disney, and it's also pure like musical
Yes.
TV show, like Glee. I mean, you just have to accept the fact that these sort of things are just going to make you kind of, they're going to just, they're not going to be, it's not going to feel real.
Yeah.
And if you can get over that.
And you got to be willing to
kind of,
suspend your disbelief. And it is kind of Glee light at times. There are some Glee light scenarios here. You said Glee, and I literally forgot about that show, which is crazy. But that's Glee light. So I guess when I hear everybody in the room, when I hear my favorite sound, I know that everybody.
I don't even know what you're singing.
You are the music in me.
That song.
Okay, so I'm looking over the soundtrack for the show, and not including instrumental versions of songs, or like there's several repeats on the list because there's reprises and stuff like that. But there are 30 songs in the series, probably about 22 unique songs.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, and now I think probably at least 8 of them, 7 or 8, are just rehashes of the original movie because they do the every song from the original movie. Is that right? I've not seen the last 2 episodes, so
I don't think all of them.
No,
there's some.
There's a lot
I think
of
there's
references.
some missing.
There's a bunch of references to basically all of them. Though.
They do the big ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say put your head in the
And I think that I saw that the girl, the main girl, Nini, she's actually one of the songs that she sings early in the episode, like early in the series.
on the ukulele.
She's released it as a single, and it's like actually on like it's getting getting play.
It's on metal on rock metal radio.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on
She's on
Rock 100.
Yeah, she's on
500.
She's on tour with Disturbed and Volbeat this summer. So
I didn't get to hear a lot of the songs from the series. I literally only watched the first episode, but I did like. I think you're referring to. I think you kind of I think it's the name of the song. I think you kind of
Yeah, so that's I don't think that's you're right. I mean that's that's one of her
that's not the single.
Quote unquote big songs, I guess. It's like that song is like it's sort of the driving force of the whole series.
I think it's Wondering.
Oh, Wondering. Okay.
And then there's the one that Ashlyn supposedly writes.
Yes.
And then she sings a song in the show, which isn't in the original movie. Like,
yeah,
Miss Darvish doesn't really sing a song.
Did you like the songs? Like, are they good for the series? Like,
yeah.
All 4?
And then like Ricky writes her a song towards the end.
Okay.
Oh, and it was so precious.
So I mean, yeah, there's definitely new music.
Ricky's song, yeah, there is. Yeah, they were actually the most of the new music I think was really good. One of the cringeworthy scenes is when EJ's rehearsing his. He like lays down a beat and he's rehearsing his song that he's gonna sing to Nini.
That's terrible.
So bad in the kitchen.
That's terrible.
That's probably the worst scene of the series. For me.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that was terrible.
Dude, that is like puke in your mouth level stuff.
Oh, it was so bad. Like even I was like, oh, please just end this scene.
It's like he's dying.
It's supposed to be kind of. I mean, it's supposed to it's supposed to be bad, but like it wasn't playing. I don't know. It's just I don't know. It just whatever.
Yeah, I mean, come on. There's not really, as far as streaming services go, Steven, this is the part of the show, I guess, where I do a commercial, apparently, for Disney Plus. But $6.99 for Disney Plus is really good.
It's incredible, everything that you get for $6.99. Plus, you can download it.
Do you think that for $6.99 they're actually, when you subscribe and then you download the app and stuff, don't you think Disney has the ability just to dive right into your bank account and all into your social security number like immediately? And that's why it's so cheap. They're like, look, we're going to offer this Beanie Baby cheap, but the Beanie Baby then is going to get in the house and then walk around your house and rob you blind, and you'll never know. So do you think that's possible?
Yeah, so you're one of those. Are you? It's always possible. I mean, I guess if like Iran or South Korea is writing the code for Disney Plus,
dude, they're not. Sure. They don't have the technology for this. You're giving them much more credit.
I said South Korea, North Korea. I said South Korea.
What are you saying? Those places don't have that kind of technology. They don't even know what Beanie Babies are. What?
Or Russia. Yeah, Zach, that's probably happening.
Burisma.
That's probably happening.
All right.
Or you can be a Verizon customer and get it for free.
That's true. And then you have I did kind of turn this into a commercial, but I really am amazed at $6.99. I really feel like they're also just selling your data to the Chinese. So,
Or you could be like Phil and us and go on on it together.
And share
Oh.
it. And then it's cheaper.
you know why? Because we're all in this together. And we feel that Disney Plus is
all stars
best when
and
we share it. We share our login together. Oh, please don't come to our house and arrest us for stealing.
All right, well, if you're taking us to commercial, I'm gonna say farewell.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Hey, Steven.
Let's give him
Yeah,
a round of
Steven,
applause.
listen. This is the what's the okay, last thing. What's one other thing that you've been watching on Disney Plus?
On Disney Plus?
Yes.
Well, I did watch The Mandalorian, and just like everybody else, can't get enough of it.
What is it? Say it again.
So, The Mandalorian. I watched The Mandalorian.
So good.
I watched an episode of Encore. I downloaded Noel to watch for my girls to watch over Christmas, but didn't watch it.
Okay.
I've seen that. It's pretty good.
It is good.
Was it good? Yeah,
Yeah.
I figured it's got Anna Kendrick and Bill
Darn
Hader.
good.
No,
and,
not Bill.
and
Yeah,
Baby Yoda's in it too, and that's what they've done with Disney Plus. They just put Baby Yoda in everything.
crossover.
Well, they just love it. Like it's just easy.
Crossover appeal.
People love it so much that they're like, "This will work." Him and Forky are running around together. So, all right, buddy. Well, are anything else? Do you want to cover anything? I don't want to cut you off. I want you just to sit beside the road all night.
I gotta get back on the road, and I gotta get my game face. I gotta get plenty of rest.
He's got to get his head in the game.
Yeah, you gotta.
Yeah, that's. I will say. I will end with this. It really. Okay, so I was. This is 2 days ago. No, just yesterday. Yesterday? 2 days ago. I was at Starbucks. And I had just finished watching High School Musical, the series, the night before.
Mm-hmm.
And just having the game, of course, it makes an appearance. I don't know if it's in Act 1 or I think it's in Act 2, but it doesn't matter. I think it's in the finale of the show. And I'm standing in line at Starbucks, and I'm just like I'm transfixed by this like the cutest baby I've ever seen is like in line in front of me. The cutest baby. It's got this like onesie, like little animal onesie with those cute little ears, and it's like this like coat onesie. And I'm like, and we're interacting. I'm making him smile, and then I say something to Mom, and Mom's, we talk about the baby and how cute he is. Oh my gosh, it's adorable. And then the Starbucks, I had forgotten. I hadn't even looked at the menu. I didn't know what they wanted. The Starbucks girl's like, "What can I get you?" And I was like, I don't know. I haven't even. I was like, literally was like, so. And she says, "Come on, you gotta get your head in the game." And I was shook, y'all. I was like, and so then I was like, I was like, oh, it's so funny because I just finished watching it, and I just like tell her this whole thing about. So I spent like a minute telling her about High School Musical, the musical series, and she's like, okay, that's great, bud. And well, what can I get you? So I ordered. I think I ordered an Americano with room for cream. And there you go.
And that barista was Ashley Tisdale. Can you believe it?
What a coincidence.
What a coincidence. And why wasn't she in this show? She could have been the teacher.
Yeah. I the Ryan cameo was perfect though. It was that scene was so hilarious. It was great. Anyway, so all right, you guys enjoy the rest of the show. I'm gonna hop on the road. Go Chiefs. Talk to you later.
See you, buddy. Thanks for coming on, everybody.
All right,
ladies and gentlemen,
yeah,
Stephen Price.
Yeah.
Woo! See you, Stephen. Later. Well, Youngsmas,
Yes.
Phil,
Yeah.
it's time
For
my
some
friends,
deets. Oh,
For
wrong
some
show.
time for the deets, the show. Okay, so High School Musical, the series, the musical, the show. The Broadway musical.
You got it all mixed up.
I got added things too. What is the best part of the whole show? What did you, when you watched it, did you enjoy it? Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Okay, I got 2 thumbs up. I'm going to give it a thumbs up. There are parts of it that I'm like, meh, but there are parts of it that I'm like, that's pretty good. What about this? The most annoying part of the show for you.
EJ.
EJ is very annoying at times.
Like as an actor? Or
Just his character.
He just presents in a weird way. You're like, why does she like him so much? I guess because he's got a leather jacket and he's on the water polo team.
Is he?
And, yeah. When they first, well, here's the problem.
That's how
when
they
they did this Hollywood thing, and Phil and I have seen
I
thousands
don't
of
even
movies.
remember that.
But well, they did this Hollywood thing where they present him. When you first see him, you're like, oh, this guy's like 6'5" and huge and blah 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 blah. As the season goes along, he gets smaller and smaller, like literal. Like he ends up being, what's the kid's name? Ricky.
Yeah.
He ends up being, actually, when you look at him in scenes together, Ricky is actually kind of a little bit taller than he is. And then you're like, oh, wait, it's like this weird optical illusion thing that happened. And that was kind of weird to me. I liked the structure of the teacher coming in and doing that. Pretty cool. I think it's interesting that it's the East High Leopards is the actual school name, which is really interesting. I thought that was kind of cool. The Leopards. Not the Wildcats. Because High School Musical is all about the Wildcats. So, there you go.
How about we do this? For people that are listening to this that are like, I am never going to watch this show. But I do kind of want to know like the basic plot of the show in like a couple minutes. Like what is, so basically this, here's what I know from the first episode. All these kids come together. They're going to do High School Musical. It's basically a retelling of the event of the first movie, which is a real movie in this like sub-universe, basically. So they are going to, the original movie has been adapted into a musical. They're putting on that musical, and they're all getting auditions for parts, and they get their parts. That's as far as I've gotten. From there, what drama unfolds and how does it end, and kind of give us a rundown of like what happens.
Okay, so at this point, after episode 1, EJ and Nene are together, and Ricky kind of shows up, and everybody's just like, why on earth are you auditioning?
And him and Nene have been together in the past. You have to make sure and add that.
Yep. And
they're exes.
Ricky, the show opens basically with Ricky and her saying they're basically, she obviously they've been together for like a year.
Yeah.
Their sophomore year, right? Because they're both juniors, right? So they're sophomores. Yes. And then they basically have confessed she says she loves you.
Him.
I love you.
But Ricky never...
Ricky can't use that word.
Yeah. Then she goes off to theater camp.
Yeah, and so he gets scared by that and says, we need to hit a pause. You're going to be away at theater camp for a month. Let's pause for a month. She
comes back with EJ.
She basically felt like they broke up. His thought was, I'm scared by this love word. She's going to be gone for a month. And he literally says to Big Red, the other kid, she's not going to meet anybody at theater camp. I mean, who's she going to meet at theater camp that's as cool as me?
But summer 11, man.
Wrong answer.
So what I want to know is, did EJ go to their school before this, or
yes, EJ is.
He had to have, right?
Yeah. So
EJ
it just doesn't.
Well,
really
but he's a social class above them.
EJ is a senior,
and he's a social class above them because he's in sports.
So why would he go to
a
theater
musical?
camp?
Because he's in a musical. Because he's in the theater, but he's also an athlete in water polo. Because they're a big school apparently that has water polo. So anyway, long story short.
So anyways, Ricky gets Troy instead of EJ, and EJ's not very happy about this.
Yes,
Nene's Gabriella.
I'm blown away, by the way, that Ricky was able to land that spot. He did it by playing guitar and basically ripping off her song, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Nene gets Gabriella over Gina.
EJ gets Corbin Blue's character. What's his name?
Chad. And then she gets
Taylor.
The new transfer is a girl named
Gina.
I said her name earlier.
Gina,
does like gymnastics.
She's a really good dancer.
She's really good.
Yeah.
And I liked her character. And then the rest of them kind of fall into place.
So
Big
then-
Red ends up being the stage manager, which I was kind of like, that's convenient that they have him as a stage manager.
So basically, then EJ and Gina team up because they both didn't get what they wanted. She wanted Gabriella, he wanted Troy.
Okay.
So they kind of team up, and
But
to
EJ
take
also
them down,
wants
because
or
they're the
Nene as
understudies,
well.
basically.
Yes. And
Okay.
so,
So is there
So they end up kind of working together.
is there a goal throughout the rest of the series to dethrone them? Then are they trying to take the lead roles?
it's not a team up that's necessarily, they team up in a couple spots, but not in an evil way. And that's why I was hoping, I was really, that sounds bad, but I was really hoping the EJ would just be evil and fill in this Sharpay kind of, the Sharpay Ryan thing from the movies, which it's different because it's not the movies. But, and then the Gina character would be also part of that
Yeah,
too.
but then it kind of all
But
kind of
then Gina
backfires on him
kind of
because Gina kind of
starts
goes with
liking
Ricky for
Ricky.
a little while.
Yeah.
And
it becomes, at that point in that middle, it starts to become teen drama.
Yeah.
Like, and there's a point
really
where
is.
in my head I was like, okay, I'm okay. You know what? You guys have
And
ever
then-
watched the Karate Kid show that's on
Cobra
YouTube
Kai.
TV, Cobra Kai?
No.
Oh, it does this in the middle of it too, where it starts out cool and then it gets in the middle and you're like, I don't really, like, I'm around high school kids all day.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really want to necessarily see a show that's their high school relationships nonstop, like where it's like the gooey Toll House cookie middle part of it.
But it's
and
kind of
then
like
Ashlyn kind of pulls into it because she's EJ's cousin, and so she kind of has to like pick sides.
Yeah, she's
and-
EJ's sounding board on a lot of things, and she is
Yeah.
she tries to be his conscience to get him to not take her
Nene's
phone,
phone.
Nene's phone at one
Yeah.
point,
and
then-
deletes the voicemail
deletes
from
his-
Ricky.
Yeah, exactly, and
She
it's a
deletes the
bad deal.
voicemail from Ricky,
And then,
yeah.
but Nene believes that Gina did it because Gina kind of is a mean
so
girl.
she
has some mean girl
starts stealing
tendencies,
her stuff.
like all of her stuff. And I thought that was going to be a subplot at one point where then Gina's like just turns her in because Gina could have easily just said, "You stole my stuff. I'm turning her in. I want your part. I want to be Gabriella in the show." That would have been her way to get there.
Ultimatum.
She didn't do it though. She could have blackmailed.
But then, like, as time moves on, she kind of has a thing for Ricky, and then they like find out that she has to move suddenly.
Yeah,
Because how her family is,
because
they move around.
they move a lot. They've moved to 5 schools in 7 years.
So
Phil.
literally, like, she just has to up and move.
Well, and her
Okay.
tough exterior, guys, is from the fact that she can't ever get settled in one place, and she's always moving around, so she can't really be friendly or make those friends. And that was for me, I understand it. Again, I see that all the time, and I kind of, I thought that was a pretty cool thing to show it that way. Her character, Big Red's character, pretty well spot on for high school kids. Like, that's pretty well spot on. It's interesting.
But yeah, I mean, throughout the whole show, there's still, like, you can tell there's still something there between Nene and Ricky. Like, it's kind of building up, and there's a couple scenes where, like, you can tell they both kind of want to tell each other how they feel, but then it kind of, like, something happens and they don't get
It's
to.
kind of
there's one scene where they're, like,
They're about to kiss.
Like, they're practicing a part, and they're kind of just by themselves doing a Troy and Gabriella song, running through stuff, and they're literally about to kiss, and then Big Red just walks in and is like, "Hey, we need you back out here," and so it kind of like there's like interruptions that kind of interrupt the moment, so they never really get to like tell each other how they really feel, and you're just like, "Oh my gosh, just tell each other already," because you can tell that the feelings are still there. Because after the whole like her EJ stealing her phone, she kind of like pretty much
That
blew him off
basically,
after
that's
that,
like
and it
done,
ended that relationship, and so she was kind of over
All
him
the
after
trust
that
is
point.
gone. Yeah. Now one thing too we haven't really hit on, Ricky's character, his big problem.
His parents are
literally getting a
getting
divorce in the middle of all
Yeah.
this, and that's like a thing that in the High School Musical world, like the movies, those things weren't like it really wasn't. There was some of the parent stuff, but not to that level.
Yeah.
And like this
There's
is some
weren't as
real
many
life
problems.
kind of nuts and bolts things that were
Yeah.
kind of like grr.
So yeah, he's trying to deal with all that too, and
Yeah.
it kind of
But
puts
it's
a
kind
damper
of
in
like
his life.
a lot of TV shows where you have that one couple and in the end they're going to end up together, but there's other girlfriends and so forth.
Yeah.
And you got to get to that point. It's like kind of like Corey and Topanga.
Yeah.
They're going to end up together, but
They have
here
to
and
go
there
through the ups
Corey
and downs.
and Topanga break up, they get back together, ups, downs, and then
Yeah, and that's almost the nature of, like, if you're breaking down, like I said, watch hundreds of movies, but and like you see in movies, you see only about 6 templates. There's like 5 or 6 things that you really even do in anything. Like any movie is based on about 5 or 6 templates that a movie's based on, and then they spur off a little bit from that. TV shows are the same way, and Disney/ABC stuff, because obviously ABC, Disney, same thing. And so, like, in every episode of Full House, you go over to That's So Raven, and it's like the same crap at times. You know what I'm saying? Where you're like, I feel like the same people wrote this. Well, in this, you're talking about Boy Meets World. It's kind of like there's part of that in there, and then there's.
And you could even go like The Office with Jim and Pam.
And I'm telling you, like the some of the camera shot stuff really made this feel like Modern Family to me. I'm not saying it was the same as Modern Family, but like the camera work and it's more that camera work, but some of the relationship of teen drama stuff.
It reminded me of a more serious The Office, and I've seen more of The Office than Modern Family, so maybe that's my comparison. But there's one shot in the first episode, obviously the only episode I've seen, where they zoom in, they do like a quick zoom on Ricky, and he kind of looks at the camera and gives him like a straight up Jim face, like he just kind of goes like, what? Like just kind of cocks his head to the side. And so this series is clearly inspired by those shows, but also not. It's funny. Like, don't get me wrong, I laughed watching the first episode, but it's not comedic in the same way that The Office is going for laughs. Like, I feel like the funny moments in this are just to add some flavor to what is more of a kind of a serious drama.
Yeah.
But yeah.
One of my favorite parts though is when they're all hanging out one night, because several times they all go over to Ashlyn's house. Her house is kind of like the hangout place. And they hang out, and they're playing the High School Musical board game that Carlos has supposedly made. And so it's like the East High and the West. Is it like West High or something? There's like
whoever
2 teams.
Their rival is.
And it's like all questions about High School Musical and different like things you have to do, like activities or something that have to do with the movie. And so it's pretty humorous. I
like that the source material for a lot of this was High School Musical, and that Disney, since they made it, they could use literally anything they wanted from it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times shows aren't allowed to do that. Like, even like when you think about like the CW shows that are even, Arrow and Flash and all those shows, well, they've spent years and years of not being able to use Batman's name. They've not been able to use Superman in a real proper way until recently. Like, whereas in this kind of thing, Disney owns it, so they could have put anything in there. They could have flown a bunch of Disney princesses in and been like, hey, it makes sense, because it's us. We own it.
But yeah, basically, I guess we just need to sum up the end now of what happens in the ending.
All right.
So we haven't really summed it up.
Spoiler alert. Sum it up. Katelyn, you're on. Give it the sum up, guys.
The last 2 episodes
Spoil the crap out of this for
are
us.
basically them putting on the actual musical up to this point. And they end up having to perform it in the gym because, long story short, the robotics teacher and the drama teacher set the school on fire.
Burn it down.
So anyways, they end up having to put it on in the gym because the theater is not functional at the moment. So, which ends up being fine. I mean, they set up chairs. They still have kind of a little set around. So, the first act, goes pretty smoothly. It's pretty well. Gina ends up, even though she's moved away.
Well, at the end.
She ends up coming back right before the Status Quo song, which was her big moment to have her little dance break. And who was the girl's? What's the girl's name that ends up playing Taylor randomly? I don't even remember her name. It's Nene's friend. And she's actually a really good singer, they find out, which she wasn't even in the show. She was the makeup and costume person.
Courtney.
And then they end up having her fill in. And so anyways, Gina makes an appearance back in the show. First act goes really well until about it's get your head in the game. Ricky's making his big dunk shot, looks over, sees his mom hugging her new boyfriend in the audience.
Oh, no.
And he just drops the ball.
And then he just drops the ball and he can't go on.
Oh,
anymore,
no.
And he tells EJ.
Totally throws him off. Wait, no. You missed a part. Okay. So then Nene finds out.
She owned you, man.
Nene finds out that there is a lady in the audience from this conservatory music school that her friend, do we know her name yet?
Courtney.
Courtney. Okay. Her friend is invited because Nini's been talking about how she would really like to get into this school. So she calls up the school, invites this lady to come and watch their production. Okay. So then Nini starts freaking out because she knows this lady's in the audience, and she's like,
"Wait a minute, hold on, wait." The friend can just call up
and invites this lady to come.
Is that
watch.
how it works?
That's how it works in this show.
If Grant were a high school football player, he'd be like, I want to go. Listen, Grant's a high school football player.
Michigan.
I'm his friend. Listen, Jim Harbaugh, my friend Grant is the best. You got to get down here, okay? On my way. Go ahead.
So, anyways.
Thanks. Who is Courtney? Like, Courtney is like... Is her last name Stradivarius or something? Like,
so anyways, this lady's in the audience, and Nini starts like freaking out because she's super nervous now because she knows this lady's watching her. And it's her big moment to make her into the school. So now Ricky and Nini are both like kind of in freak out mode, and so then Nini goes and does Nini tell Ricky, or somehow Ricky finds out that this lady's here too, and he's like, I can't do this. I'm gonna screw this all up for Nini. I can't be Troy. You know, this is her big moment.
Well,
I'm going to ruin it.
Before he dropped the ball? Because
this is after.
So, anyways, the episode ends. Okay.
No, he tells EJ.
Yeah, and then you find out that EJ is now going to be Troy for the rest of the show.
No.
Because Ricky can't do it anymore. Okay, he's
EJ's
so
not
torn
evil.
up.
He's
so torn up about his mom, and now he finds out that Nini really needs him to do well, and he just can't do it. So he finds EJ. He's like, hey, I need you to be Troy for the rest of the show.
Even though he's a new Troy partway through it.
Yeah, and then Gina. There's a new Taylor too, because now Gina's Taylor, even though Courtney started out.
So
it's
Gina,
just like all
I
messed
haven't
up.
seen these episodes. Is Gina gone?
Then the best part is Carlos becomes Chad, right?
What?
Yeah, Carlos fills in as Chad. Okay, so it's like all mixed up. Okay, so anyways, they end up finishing the show, and Gina and Ricky kind of come in during the breaking free moment of the show. Okay,
and they're just standing there
and they're
watching.
just standing there watching. Her and EJ, Nini and EJ are on stage, supposed to be singing the song, and EJ finally realizes, this isn't right. I'm not supposed to be Troy. So Nini goes out in the audience and gets Ricky, brings him up on stage. They sing Breaking Free. They realize their love for each other. Okay, so the show finishes,
Oh.
So then they're in the dressing room after the show.
They have a nice smooch fest.
Ricky finally says that he loves her after all this time. They each give each other gifts. Hers says freaky math girl. His says freaky callback boy. Right? Isn't that what it was?
Something like that.
They have a nice smooch fest. They're in love now. Everything's all right with the world. America's couples back together. Then, the lady from the conservatory left, and she's like, well, I'm okay with it. Whatever. It wasn't meant to be. Well, then, all of a sudden, the lady comes back.
Oh, no.
And finds Nini, pulls her aside, and says, you know what?
I've traveled.
We've decided
1,400
that
miles.
I've watched the show. You did a great job. You're so talented. We've decided that we want to offer you a spot in our school.
After one performance?
Last scene is Ricky leaving, saying, come on, Nini. We got to go out. Because they're having like a big get together, to celebrate the show and stuff. Come on, Nini. Everyone's waiting for us.
End of
and then
season
she's
one.
just like, she has no idea what to do now because she has the spot at the conservatory, but she's going to have to go to like Denver, I think it is. And Ricky's in Salt Lake City, and she's in love with him now, and everything's all back to normal. And so now she has this big decision, and boom, it ends.
Boom.
Cliffhanger. Now we have to wait for season 2 to find
2,
out what
here
her
we go.
I
decision
really want to
is.
know Courtney. I need to get to know Courtney just so she can get me into apparently all kinds of prestigious schools, but just calling somebody.
So,
Jeez.
boom, there it is.
Boom shakalaka. Boom shakalaka. Well, very cool. That's a good summary. That's actually really good.
We're breaking free.
Flying, soaring.
There's not a star in heaven that we can't reach.
But the one thing that was really missing from the show was Zac Efron.
We're gonna bop, 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 bop to the top.
Very quickly, Katelyn, tell us about your love for Zach.
Oh, Zac.
Is he? Let me ask you a couple questions. Is he the hottest man on earth? Is he one of the greatest singers of all time?
Well,
Let me,
Stop me poking on too far.
Can I frame? I'll go a little further. Let me frame this up. If Henry Cavill were to come to our door at our house,
Superman.
hear me out, Superman. If he were to come to our house and knock and go, "Is Amanda home?" Actually, he's British, so he'd go, "Is Amanda home?" And she would go, "Yes." And he would go, "Come away with me."
See it,
And
Jack.
I would have no
Jack
choice.
is like,
I would have no
"You
choice but be like, well, this is what you've always wanted. Here he is.
go.
Is that Zac Efron for you?
Yes.
Okay.
He's a hunk.
I've loved
I
Zac
mean, he's no
Efron
Superman.
since high school.
I'm being for real when I say that. I really think
I
that there'd be no
literally,
choice.
like,
that,
so in the first movie, I don't know how many people know this, but Zac Efron did not sing in the first movie.
yeah,
They
yeah.
had someone sing for him. Then in the second and the third movie, he does actually sing.
And he's a great singer.
And he's better than the guy who sang
What
for him
was
in the
that
first
all
movie.
about?
So it's just
Why
really
was
dumb.
that?
I don't know why they did
Weird.
that.
Yeah.
But anyways, I mean, no, I don't think he's the best singer in the world, but I mean, I think he does a good job
He's got
when he's
talent.
yeah, he's definitely talented.
He's a triple threat. Dance, act.
Face.
Yeah, I definitely think he's talented. I mean, I did have several posters hung up in my room and dorm room in college. Some of my friends did get me a Zac Efron Barbie, and I did have a blanket that had Zac Efron's face on it. So I mean, he was my celebrity crush in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, still is. So.
It's cool.
Yep.
Mine's Mrs. Darvis from the first movie.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Can definitely see why.
Very cool. Excellent. Grant, thoughts?
Yes.
What if Zach shows up tonight at your house?
Well,
Maybe Vanessa Hudgens for you.
no.
Gosh, no.
It's definitely, for me, Carrie
I have
Underwood.
different opinions.
Carrie
about her.
Underwood. Really?
Mhm.
Yeah, this episode definitely took a different turn. And I know you probably.
On Love Boat.
Yeah, exactly. Phil's been. Here's the thing: is Phil's been very quality control on Disney Plus, but you kind of just by default ended up kind of turning me loose a little bit. I apologize for just taking over.
That's kind of what happens when you get the four of us in a room
That is
together.
true. It's wild. And we got Steven parked beside an interstate. What? Several hours from his house.
Yeah, thanks to Steven for coming on big time. I don't know if we said that to him. I guess we clapped for him, didn't we?
Yes.
And he gave us more than 10 minutes, which was awesome.
He couldn't pull himself away. I knew.
I know
he do that too.
he was so excited to come on and talk about this.
He had
I
so
didn't-
much exciting stuff.
I feel
to
like
say.
this was like an outlet for him, like
Well-
like much like the barista who's like, I don't care about the show.
And let me fill this in too. His initial plan was to be in his house in Louisville, like on
Skyping
Skype
in.
or
Sure,
on
yeah.
like just. But he got tickets to go see the Chiefs in the, AFC Championship game tomorrow. So it's like he said, "Okay, we'll do this." And then he was basically like, "I don't think I can do this." I'm like, "Well, maybe we try to call in. Maybe the audio will be okay." And he was gracious enough to do that. And you guys were gracious enough to let him do that. And then to do the job you've done, I'm so proud of you guys.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you guys. I feel like we've accomplished something here today. So,
We have.
But I really want someone to sing us out if we're going to be done.
Can I share one thing before we sing
Well,
out?
of course. Share more things. What else are you watching on Disney Plus?
Before I add that,
Yeah.
the reason why High School Musical also has a special place in my heart is because High School Musical 3, at the end of it, they graduate high school.
Yes.
Same time that I was graduating high school. So it was
Oh
like
my gosh.
I was growing up with them and leaving. So I remember being in the
And
theater,
it
High
was a
School Musical
cry
3.
fest for her?
I mean, I went with some of my friends that we were seniors. I mean, we were crying
Yeah.
big time. So, I mean, that's another reason why it's kind of a special place in my heart.
I'm saying genuinely, compared to the other two, was the third one good?
Yeah, I liked the third one.
What's best? The first one?
I mean, I would say the first one, but
I
I
love-
wish they would have had Zac Efron sing. I
That's
think
true.
that would have been better. I don't really like the guy that sings for
I'm
him.
telling you, the second one's my favorite. I don't know what. Maybe in series of things, the second thing normally it ends up being my favorite. Like that second one's fun. Like it's summertime. What time is it?
Summertime. It's our vacation.
Miley Cyrus is in the pool scene in that. Do you guys know that?
Yeah,
It's real weird.
she is
It's weird.
at the very end.
So are you going to ask us what we've been watching
And
on?
now it's time on the show where we ask, what have you been watching on Disney Plus? Sponsored by
Jack.
me.
I enjoy watching Lizzie McGuire. I'm really excited for the supposedly reboot that's happening.
Alleged.
I really hope it actually happens because it's one of my faves.
Okay.
What else, Grant? Have we watched?
I've been watching Boy Meets World, which is probably one of my favorite shows of all time.
Yeah. It's a good one.
I love Even Stevens as well.
Those are similar shows at times, aren't they?
Yes.
Hannah Montana is another favorite.
Those Disney
watch
Channel
that, so.
original movies are pretty
Yeah,
great.
there's some good original movies. I did watch Noelle. I really enjoyed it.
We
I thought it
watched
was
all
really
the
good.
Star Wars movies on
They're
it,
awesome.
Yep.
Can't wait for Clone Wars. to
which
come out.
it was Caitlin's first time ever seeing Star Wars.
Oh, by the way, I feel like there's something, maybe a return episode, where we talk about Star Wars in length, like just talk about all of them, because like I've never met anyone in my life that had literally never watched them, never, and then just watched a bunch of them in a row. Like I feel like that alone is a whole episode. So
She has now seen all 9
I love
of
it.
them.
I
love
just
it.
haven't seen Rogue One or
Solo.
Rogue One is
Solo.
great. Solo, meh, but fine. It's Star Wars,
I haven't
so
seen.
I like it.
Those are the two I haven't seen.
I
I've
like
seen
it.
everything else.
I watched Forky ask a question, and my favorite one of those is What Is Love, because it has Mel Brooks, it has Carl Reiner, it has Carol Burnett, and Betty White.
Wow.
And do they
Awesome.
sing "What Is Love"?
No, I thought they would. They
Baby,
didn't.
don't
No, they just
hurt
talked,
me.
so we're gonna
Trash.
I feel like Encore is right up your alley. Caitlin, have you checked that one out?
I've seen like the show and I've looked at what episodes they have, but
Yeah.
no, I have not watched one yet. But I would like to.
I think the premise of it is like old
They bring
high school
back-
cast coming back
yeah.
like 40 years later.
I think that would be pretty fun.
that would be fun
actually,
to watch. Yeah.
to
I-
actually do that. That'd be fun.
It's not. I mean, obviously, having never been in a musical before, you could probably still enjoy it. But if you've
Yeah,
done
I mean,
musicals
it's different
before,
when you've experienced that. I feel like to actually go back and watch that.
Okay. Anybody else? Anything else? All right. So here's what I want you to do, Caitlin. You pick the song. We're gonna sing this out, but you're the singer. You're the great singer. You're the best singer. Okay, other than me, obviously. But you're the singer. I want you to start us out, and we're gonna sing along with you. Phil's probably just gonna beatbox because I don't think he knows any of these songs. But he's very talented as well. He's very talented as well. What do you got? Pick the song. We'll follow along.
Well, this is probably one of my favorites, even though I feel like it's not really one of the most popular.
Doesn't
ones.
matter.
It's hard to believe that
I
I couldn't
couldn't
see
see
that you were always right beside me. That I was alone with no one to hold, but you were always right beside me. This feeling's like no other. I want you to know that I've never had someone who loves me like you do, the way you do. I've never had someone as good for me as you. No one like you. So lonely before I finally found what I've been looking for. Do 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 do. Wow.
is that the Michael Bublé song?
It's very Michael Bublé.
It sounds a lot like what's the one you sang? Just haven't met you
Yeah.
yet. Like they started exactly the same.
Except it came out early. It was newer.
Yeah. So
Weird.
Michael Bublé probably copied him.
Ripped him off. Anyway, all right. Well, go ahead, Phil.
So yeah, so we'll do the outro here. So that's it for this week's episode. Thanks for joining us. Hit us up at disneyplusreviews@hotmail.com if you want to write in to the show. Let us know what you want us to review or what your thoughts were on High School Musical, the series. And next week we're going to be talking about is it called The Hole?
Holes?
Maybe it's not called The Hole.
You told me we were talking
That
about The
sci-fi movie.
Simpsons.
Oh! You want to talk about Black Hole?
Black Hole.
Black Hole.
Yeah, so Black Hole is going to be the episode next week. So we're going to have our good friend Jerry on the show. He's also going to be calling in.
Love
So
it.
it's going to be me, Jack, and Jerry just talking about a movie
I
that.
didn't know that you surprised me. Oh,
yeah.
Phil, I'm
Okay, so
hugging-
Jack.
I'm hugging Phil.
Jack and I have not seen this. Jack and I are watching it for the first time. Jerry has seen this movie before. He saw it in theaters when it first released. So I can't wait to see. I think he saw it. Definitely, he saw it when it first released, like maybe on video or something. But yeah, he has a lot to say about it, and so yeah, we're just gonna have a grand old time with our old friend Jerry. So. So yeah, Black Hole next week. Check that out. It's on Disney Plus. It's an old movie. Kind of looks Star Wars. We talked about it a couple episodes ago. It kind of looks like Star Wars, but definitely not Star Wars at all. So that is the subject matter for next time.
Cool.
And then in a couple weeks, I believe the Clone Wars doesn't start until mid-February. So we'll have a couple other weeks of filler. And then honestly, we'll probably get into just an episodic run through again, every episode being about Star Wars, the Clone Wars. We may take some breaks here and there if something else comes out on the service. So.
Simpsons.
Yeah, honestly, like I've only seen the first couple seasons of The Simpsons, literally.
And how many seasons are there?
30
something. Yeah,
Holy crap.
I mean, I have not seen a single episode after just outside of like the first season and a half of that show, of that entire show's running. So I honestly wouldn't mind watching some episodes or favorite episodes. Maybe we find like a list of like top 10 episodes of Simpsons and watch those or something like that. But I would kind of like to get into The Simpsons a little bit too. So there's lots to watch on Disney Plus. Anyways, thanks for joining us. Thanks to Grant, Katelyn, and Steven for joining us. It was really fun to have all 5 of us on the show, although I didn't talk a lot because I don't have a whole lot to say about High School Musical. So, but it's good to have the experts on. So, again, tune in next week. Black Hole. We'll see you then. Thanks.